Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I'm on a special mission now to show the poor that the pain and suffering that they feel is part of their own contribution, but that the love for them is expressed in the truth. And I'm going to do as much as I possibly can to expose that truth to them. And truth is very important, especially when we find ourselves in a situation as we here in America are experiencing today. An ex-president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I really don't know anything about this man except what I've heard and what I've seen. And everybody has responded to him as if he is an evil one. They say that he spent his whole life with a silver spoon or a golden spoon. He's never had to suffer for anything, and he had control over those things that had to do with, and he was willing to pay any price, do anything to have his way. He decided that he wanted to be president of the United States. And he came in expressing the ideas of hatred and racism and bigotry. Apparently he understood that that was apparent in the American communities. And he rode upon that expression into the White House. But he's such a crooked man, such an evil man, that those who talked about him and gave a true picture of him as verified through his action after becoming president, spoke against him at one time. And now they speak for him as much as he speaks for himself. And he speaks as if he knows no truth. And they just repeat whatever he once said. You see, ladies and gentlemen, here's something that we should understand. America is going through this problem today, especially that which has to do with trust. White people don't trust white people because they got their own agendas and they do not jive. And when it comes down to black people's ideas for themselves, it doesn't even matter. The white people have made sure that ever since black people have been in this country, if they weren't slaves, they were second-class citizens. And they did whatever they could to cause the pain and suffering that maintains them at a low status of living on that pole of economics. Now, this is continued because you had people just like Donald Trump and just like those MAGA groups and everybody else. They were raised, my friends. They didn't come into the world like this. They were taught this by their parents and their environment that they were exposed to. Just like folks who were slaves or who were second-class citizens were taught that this was okay to survive, and they accepted that for survival. And today you have a greedy man, a man who wants to be God, said he was chosen to be God's son, I guess, to come down here and lie to the people with alternative truths, to just deceive them, to separate them from those who might know the truth. Those who might know the truth, you would think, would stand up and give representation to the truth in this mix. And in this mix they will. In fact, this is what those who know the truth or probably know the truth, I'm talking about white people now and black, they are giving voice to it. But the evil ones, those that would do anything, have unlimited resources of evil. Well, those who are not that evil, they don't know what the resources are. They feel they just say what's on their hearts and that will do. And that is not doing, because it takes more than you saying what's on your heart. It takes you doing what's on your heart. And so what we have here is people at odds with one another, black people at odds with some blacks, white people at odds with some whites, and black people and white people at odds. But White people got it going on as far as the power. They got it going on as far as the power. And so what they do is have their way. As we can see, they stacked the Supreme Court. They stacked all of the judges that are Republicans when we had Republican President Trump. And they got the gerrymandering, they got Project 25, they got all of these plans that try to make things even more difficult for people of color. And this is what's been going on all of our existence here in this country. And this is the same thing that brought us to this point. We were never able to unify ourselves. We were never able to come together and work for a common cause that worked for all of us, the people. We just use the word, we the people. Doesn't mean a darn thing. That's why the suffering going on. And it is trying to prove, Donald Trump and his group, those liars, those evil ones, are trying to tear down this, what you have called a democracy. The democracy was not sufficient enough to keep the life flow. And right now, we're really in a messed up situation. But the purpose, my friend, is to look at what's going on in the world. How in America could a young man, an old man, for some of you, who's violated all these rules that's been set up by this country, and right now stand up as the #1 candidate to represent a political party called the Republican Party? How could that happen? Evil. That's how it happened. Evil. So my message to those of you who are not evil is to say to you, you got to not just not be evil. You got to stand up for righteousness. You can't stick your head in the sand and say, well, they got the power, they're going to do this to the black people and ain't nothing I can do about it. Yes, you can. It is required that you do something about it if you want to avoid the hell like you're in today. It is required. And I'm starting with all the poor people. You are the evidence that America has not cared about you. Giving you food stamps doesn't mean a thing. Giving you some assistance with your housing, it just works for their conscience, make them think that they're doing something. They are violating the rules of life. They're violating the rules of life, and they're using their evilness to do it. They've stolen the resources that are yours. All of you, the people, own the resources, but they've stolen them. They're using those resources to do the things that they were made to do for, and they're using you to do the work. And they're paying you a little money and requiring that you give some of that money back to get those things that already belong to you that you have made. And then they're doing that on an economic scale where those who play the game get big money, corporate, and they're represented in all the ones who got the millions and billions of dollars. And we, the people who do all the work, are those who are not even allowed to work, but feel jails and prison because they are forced to commit crimes and violence. My friends, God wants you to know, I'm going to tell you God, there is a God, and he ain't white, and he ain't black. In fact, I said he, but I don't know God as he. I know God as power. Power, my friends, that is available to every last one of us on the face of the earth. But that power is for good. It's for good, not pain and suffering. And anybody that's coming up with any kind of scam is just another part of the problem. You talk about medicine, you can't get it, and it's supposed to save your life. Nobody gives a stink. They want the money. You need teeth. You can't eat. You got a bald mouth. Nobody cares. Do you have the money? If you don't have the money, somebody got to pay. Or you walk around in a bald mouth the rest of your life. Housing, transportation, all of that. POD hell for a person who knows the truth. I come to tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, last time I talked to you, I asked you to get in contact with people everywhere that's poor. Tell them that there's a power out here that's ready to free you from the lie, and free those who are perpetuating the lie from the lie themselves. And that we could come together in a little time. And in fact, we'll begin enjoying the life the moment you make the decision to change. And the things that you do that, oh, don't let me tell you that right now. I want to say that for you the next time. But ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to say that Trump is going to tell every lie you can imagine. He's going to tell every lie that he can imagine. And his people are going to come back and after him or before him and articulate to the highest volume that same lie. Try to make you feel bad. But none of that that they're telling you, none of those lies will work for them and you. None of those lies will eliminate the problem. Even if you join with them and put him back in office, it wouldn't do nothing to make things worse. He's promised you that already. He's promised you how much he's going to slaughter people. And yet you are considering bringing him back. You have to be out of your mind. You can't be anywhere with some kind of sense. You don't have enough sense to fill a pea head if you're thinking about putting Donald Trump back in office. Not because you're trying to get even with him, because he's no good for the nation. No good for the nation, unless you are worse than he is. I think I'll stop right now, ladies and gentlemen, but I want you to know that God has something to say about humanity and to humanity, regardless of whoever might be against it. The courts here in America, you know how they work. We as people of color have always known how they work, but we still know that they were presented to make things look good and structured good, put people in jail and stuff like this. But then if you got money, you can always ride the boat. You know what I'm talking about. But God wants that power that I spoke to you about to be utilized through you and to fix the stuff. Fix the stuff. And you, the poor, you know exactly what it's about. You've spent your life going through it. And you know for a fact, now that I'm confirming that you know it, these people in this country have no plans whatsoever to do anything to make your life better. When you get an increase in wages, the price go up. Not yesterday, the price was down. The candy bar cost 88 cents. You got a little increase. They talked about a little increase. Now the candy bars cost $2.50. If you got a problem understanding that, I'll tell you, I paid 37 cents for a gallon of gas. 37 cents for a gallon of gas. Where can you get gas at that price today? Well, you don't get any more gas. You don't get any more gas. So what's with the price? They tell you a whole bunch of lies, stuff that's made up to sell to you so they can get more out of you. Brothers and sisters, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I want you to know, though, the change is coming.